Saving Château de Pernon is one of the largest private chateau restorations underway in France today. How do we, two Australians with no prior chateau restoration experience, manage such an enormous project? This week, we take you behind the scenes to uncover the systems for managing this complicated undertaking. The restoration of the exterior of the chateau is divided into 4 stages: the eastern wing, the central dome, the western wing, and the bridge. This work is then divided into 6 lots: the stonework and the render of the facades, the carpentry, the slate roof, the restoration of windows, shutters and doors, her paintwork, and the restoration of the chateau's magnificent sculptures. The fragile condition of the domain sees us coordinating many other projects simultaneously as the major works on the chateau, including currently the restoration of the dry moat walls. Every aspect of the restoration is overseen by our heritage architect, Monsieur Frédéric Didier, the architect in charge at the Château de Versailles and one of France's leading 18th century specialists. But before any work is able to start, Monsieur Didier must undertake a comprehensive diagnostic study, which is presented to the French government for approval and funding. Once a month, Monsieur Didier arrives at Pernon to monitor progress and work with our artisans to troubleshoot any problems. This week, we take you behind the scenes for this month's site meeting as Monsieur Didier uncovers an abnormality in the roof's original construction, checks progress on the restoration of the moat walls, and we have a surprise discovery for him.
Ah! Elle était où?
Whilst inspecting the restoration of the chateau's immense oak frame, Monsieur Didier notices an irregularity in the original construction. Everywhere else, the oak beams sit away from the stonework of the dormer. Here, however, the oak beam sits within the stonework of the dormer. Along with the artisans working on the restoration of the oak frame, Monsieur Didier needs to find a solution for the restoration of this irregularity.
Est-ce qu'on reconduit exactement cette disposition qui fragilise les choses? Parce que dès que la charpente bouge un tout petit peu, là ça appuie sur la pierre et on crée une fracture. Hein. On va remettre de la maçonnerie ici pour avoir des queues de pierre. On va se régler sur cette assise-là. On coupera tous les bois qui sont en dessous. Je considère qu'on n'en a pas besoin et que là, la charpente, cette cerce-là, va reposer directement sur la maçonnerie.
Une coupe de niveau sur la maçonnerie.
Voilà, sur la maçonnerie propre, voilà, qui va être alignée avec ce joint ici. Et puis la dernière partie qui est à partir entre cette clavette-là et puis le bas, on va le réduire pour que justement la nouvelle pierre qu'on va mettre en incrustement soit beaucoup plus épaisse.
Très bien.
Voilà, et comme ça, on n'aura pas de problème. Ça irait peut-être dans le sens de comment a été faite la toiture. Est-ce qu'ils n'ont pas fait ça d'ouest en est? À l'est, ils étaient un peu plus vigilants. Ouais, je me demande ça parce qu'on n'avait pas ce genre de chameau et je me demande si là, c'est pas les défauts de coordination. Ou alors c'est que l'architecte venait plus. C'est possible. Ah, ça fait plaisir. Hein. Il faudrait qu'on réussisse à vous mettre un bidim derrière, remonter là. Ensuite, vous pouvez, derrière le drain, vous pouvez mettre, là vous remettez de la terre. Vous mettez de la terre. Hein. Mais ce qu'il faut, c'est qu'après, dans le drain, il faut qu'on mette des matériaux concassés qui soient à peu près propres. Hein, parce que sinon, si on colmate tout, ça ne sert à rien d'avoir des barbacanes. On n'a pas trouvé de caniveau en pierre dressée comme on a de l'autre côté.
Monsieur Didier is keen to see if our local stonemasons have found traces of the original 18th century gutters at the base of the moat wall. These gutters surrounded the walls of the chateau in the moat and directed water through Pernon's ingenious water storage network. Here at the moat walls, however, there is no trace of the gutters, so we are left to wonder if they were not originally present in front of the moat walls.
Monsieur Didier has given us clear instructions. In preparation for this month's meeting, the billiard room must be cleared, and Pernon's original 18th century billiard table should be returned to the room where it once stood, to allow for the planning for its restoration to commence. This frame may not look like much, but it's the frame of what is possibly the oldest billiard table in France today. And for the first time in centuries, it's being reassembled in the room that was designed for it. Seeing it returned prior to its restoration is a special moment for all of us.
Il explique la pièce complètement. Génial, formidable, formidable.
And it's a chance to share a recent discovery. During the removal of a section of the roof, one of our stonemasons spotted one of the original lanterns that sat above the billiard table. It's a great find.
Ah, elle était où?
Alors moi je l'ai retrouvé en fait, c'était au niveau de la corniche d'angle.
Formidable. Il nous manque les barres, et ça on n'a vraiment pas trouvé. Il manque les barres supérieures ici. Il manque ces barres-là en fait.
Well, the billiard table, what an incredible discovery it was for us 4 years ago. I remember even now, how excited I was when we first discovered it with Frederick. And to see it back up in the billiard room where it once stood and where it was made to stand is really an incredible thing. And just to think that we're at the stage now to start the process of the restoration of this table gets me very excited.
Yeah, it is a very special moment, and I think one of the things that I really take from the systematic process that they follow in heritage protection here in France is the value that we get from taking our time. It does add time, and it certainly adds a little bit of cost as well to go through this process of doing diagnostic studies before any work is done, but you discover so much more, and the journey with the architect has been so much richer because we've had this process in place which has made sure that important things are not missed by rushing. And the billiard table and the billiard room itself is a great example of that, because it was, although it was Monsieur Didier who discovered the billiard table itself, it was the systematic process of the diagnostic study that uncovered the reality that that room, that incredible domed room at the centre of our attic, was in fact the Marquis's billiard room, and that's where the table stood, and that's where it's going to return to. And although from time to time we're always in a rush to progress and to move the projects forward, those diagnostic studies for the parks and gardens here, for the chateau itself, for the moat walls, for the restoration of the moat walls, even for retaining walls in our farm areas, those diagnostic studies are such an important element of making sure that important heritage things are not missed, they're not overlooked, they're not damaged or degraded in any way by the heritage restoration process. And it's one of the great joys of our project here. It's not a DIY project, although we do an enormous amount of work ourselves. It is a project that's under the auspices of one of France's great heritage architects, Monsieur Didier, and we have learned so much, and we have grown so much being part of a process that is so thorough. And remember, if you'd like to follow the restoration of Château de Pernon more closely, we post frequently on Instagram.
We post an exclusive weekly video for our YouTube members and our Patreon subscribers. And this week, we really have a situation that proves that bad luck happens in threes, unfortunately. Otherwise, just hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and we'll keep you updated here.